Hello. Let's see if I can get everything working here. Ah, there we go. Okie doke. I'm going to be putting up some notices. It's snowing outside right now, and I thought it'd be a good time to have a chat. How's it going, B Rock? Tony? Blake? Yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. I look cold. It's snowing outside, Tony. People say they want a white Christmas. You can have ours. We'll take a nice, sunny, warm Southern California one. Hi, Allie. Oh, thanks, man. Hey, killer. Okie doke. I'm putting up a few more posters. I'll be right back. Hang on a second. Okie doke. Okie doke. All done. It's nice and sunny. It's always nice and sunny down there. Hang on a second. Let me get a hold of the illumination producer. There we go. There, I got my lighting system set up. Hi, Brian. You guys getting snow there too? We have a very light snow, and all it does is turn everything white and make it look Christmassy. But as far as other issues and concerning, like driving in it. So anyway, and flying, I suppose. If you got anybody coming home for Christmas, it's iffy. Votenland, oh yeah, I know he didn't deserve anything, but let's not say anything bad about him, and I'll tell you why. He knows a lot of people, so we'll just keep that. We'll just sort of keep it under the wire, okay? You're right though. He's been naughty instead of nice. What was some of the things that we need to explore? What are some issues that coming up? One of the things that I've been talking about a little is sort of the in China they're doing a lot. I would say specifically Hong Kong, but it's been a lot of other places too. So there's a lot of stuff going on with horology, and I I'm I think we're there seems to be clinging on to certain popular things, but not so much holding on to true horology. I'll put it that way. I saw this. What is it? Watch Time. The Watch Time, online newsletter. You get that, and look at those things, and they say big headline, and it's sort of like big headline ought to be much ado about nothing, because they'll say, uh, brand X went and they have revived this 1970s idea. With 70s. It was sort of a weird time, let me tell you. I think everyone was pretty glad to get out of the 70s. So anyway, some things though that I think are nice, that I mean in the true horology, that I think would that I'd like to see more of, uh, that was very nice. For example, Luca Soprano's Derek uh, Platt Pratt, Derek Pratt's Remontois. I mean, that was nice. Yeah, Peacock Tourbillon, that is another nice thing. I think a very nice thing. This, I think, is I don't know what they're going to be doing in China as far as having using very practical, I might add, things like silicon hairsprings and things like that, instead of move it toward uh, in a different direction that is like overflowing with practicality. I'll put it that way. And to me, the logical conclusion of all practicality is a smartwatch, because after all, that's what, if they're looking for not only not only accuracy, but then they'll get all of this other stuff along with it too. The I called my wife the other day from my car. Talking in my car without, and there's a button on my car that I can push or just talk to it. I can talk to my car now. And driving along, my wife answered, and then there was some little mix up. She said, "Oh, I was talking on my watch," and so it was a little, and then I had to get over to my other phone. Oh my God, I tell you, that's not what I signed up for. I signed up for horology. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, so yeah, it depends on where they're going. It, it's like, you're dealing with classic cars. You're having fun with classic cars. You enjoy it, and somebody's going to put in plastic or silicon. Yeah, that's not what you want. You want classic cars. I want my Morgan. um Okay, yeah, let's talk about that, Alley's, thing. There was this watch that won called by Dennison, and I thought, "Man," it was a quartz watch, and I think, but I'm not sure, I think it had like a tiger's eye, dial or something like that, and it was very much, 70s style, sort of that almost looked like an old TV with the rounded ends to it and so forth. And to me, it was like, yeah, I didn't vote for it, but somebody did, you know. So I don't know. I wish they wouldn't allow quartz or electronic watches in the challenge category. Yeah, maybe I can say some. I don't know if it'll do any good or not, but since I'm a member of the academy, I suppose I could say that. I say it's not. I just don't think it's fair to the other people who spent a lot of time really working on, the horology. We know that quartz is more accurate than everything else, but to slap a cheap quartz movement into sort of a dolled up. So that's my view on it. Hey, Killer, I think the barrier to entry specifically for Swiss independent watchmaking is at an all-time high now. New makers still proving themselves come out of the gate with watches. So, absolutely right, Killer. That's a very good point. I mean, it seems that there's a gap. Either the guys come out and they have done some spectacular stuff like Betterman and what's his face, the uh, Bedot, I think, Peterman and Bedot, those two guys, excellent watchmakers, making excellent watches in small numbers and high prices. Okay, same thing with Nadeau, the French kid who's doing these great watches, and I think there's and when they came out with sort of the new owners of Urban Jurgensen, you know, look what happened there. Hey, Von Cruel. Yeah, I don't know about the Chinese on this, Ali. I don't know if that's right or not, because I've seen some, like I said, that as I mentioned, as Brian pointed out, I talked about the Peacock Tourbillon. Nice watch, very nice watch, and the price is like $2,000 for Tourbillon. To give you an idea, um, a Vacheron Constantin, brand new Vacheron Constantin overseas, the entry level plain vanilla overseas is $25,000. Same watch, except with a tourbillon on it, is 129,000. I mean, like for a tourbillon, that's basically adding $100,000 because before you put a tourbillon on it. And always loved to play with my tourbillon, but $100,000 extra for the essentially the same watch. I don't know. Hey, Mark. So it's like I don't know about that. So yeah, I mean this is like now the other hand, and I think there's going to be something that we all might like coming out soon. You can get your own tourbillon like I got mine. Here you have these two things. You have somebody who puts in a Salida movement, gets a Salida movement, gets a case and everything to go with it, and they sell them for under $1,000. Okay, or under, well, I'll say 3,500. They sell them for under 3,500. That's sort of the challenge level. Some of the stuff that they've come up with on pure horology has been really excellent. This is why this Denison thing that you bring up, I agree. That's just all wrong. That's all messed up. Okay, so you have that, and then you have people who are what is that? Myota. I've been seeing more and more Myota movements coming out in the low price. Well, the movement's low price, the watch is low price. Okay, that works out okay. The ones that try to pass their watches off as something more than off the shelf standard horology, that's getting into a place I hope they don't go. But what we need, what I'd really like to see, is sort of in the middle somewhere. And these would be some people who are doing some real horology, and they're not priced crazy high. Probably the model of this would be Harboring 2. I'd like to see more companies like Harboring 2. And the problem is that you need a dedicated watchmakers like Marie and Richard Harbring, and they're in their little town in Austria making these things, and people love them, and they're everything about them is almost ideal. Why more watch companies or sort of startups aren't using that as a model as opposed to either something cheap and maybe pretty or something just amazing but just crazy price wise? Yeah, it's one of those things, Ali. That's going to pop up every now and then. Yeah, my Canada. This is my ta-da, my H. Moser um, outfit. There's my H. Moser dog dressed up like a reindeer. Well, it's snowing today, so I thought and I got on my H. Moser Henry double hairspring. This watch is, I like hefting a watch. This thing is a heavy watch, and I like it. I mean, it's like, you got a watch on it. There's never any doubt at all about it. I can use it for weightlifting or whatever. Um, my Otis 9075, true mechanical GMT on the cheap, and they are reliable by all accounts. The same thing can be said for Solita. And but there's this place I was talking about the other day. They make these tourbillons that are used by Girard along with somebody else, and they're selling them for like, I think, about 15,000. So I went to their site today, and their least expensive and pretty good looking watch too is 8,500. Hang on a second, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. History. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. This is this company called BA111OD. This is hang on a second. I'll show you how they write it. BA111. It's either 0D or OD. Okay, this is the company, all right, that is doing it. Now let me show you this one. This one I found was 8,500 bucks. This is the guy's version. Okay. Okay. There's the tourbillon. This is the tourbillon, and it's a skeletonized version. If you don't like skeletonized versions, they have some other ones that are at 10,000. This one is 8,500, and in a Swiss made watch, 8,500. And so, if somebody wants to check off, tourbillon, I can do what I did. Go to AliExpress and get one. Um, these are available, for that. And some of the, hang on a second, let me see if I can find some, rats. Hang on a second, let me take this down. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna find some other ones. I wanna show you a couple other ones, and this is why I am not here we are. Yeah. Oh, that one's expensive. Hang on. Boy, they're really into skeletonized ones. Okay, here's one that's not skeletonized. Okay. I'm I'm not sure. Hang on, let me show you this. Okay, here's one. This one I think is about 10,000, okay? And, you know, I'm not sure what this globe is for. It looks could be a minute hand, it could be a dual time hand, I don't know what it is. No, I guess it's probably a dual time hand. Here is a second hand, and a lot of times you'll see a 60-second tourbillon or something, and the thing will be rolling around all over the place. This, I think, must be a second for 10,000 bucks with the tourbillon. Okay. The like I said, the companies like Vacheron Constantin, among others, and including the these young guys, a lot of them are making tourbillons. Tourbillons used to be the ultimate in watchmaking, and they are. They really are. I mean, I I couldn't make one, even though I can buy a cheap one. It doesn't mean I can make one, and not all watchmakers can. Even fewer, it appears, are able to create a remontoire something like that. I'd love to see these guys come out with a remontoire. That would shake things up. So those are things. Von Cruel, or Breitling, or Omega. Omega also too. They got the silicon hairsprings. Breitling, you never know. Breitling's sort of like Forrest Gump's box of candy. You never know what you're gonna get in size. So anyway, okay, Allie, if I were to question watches from a single brand, which brand would it be? Easy, Larique. That would be the brand. Okay, so what else is going on? Uh, all right, anything? Let's see what else is been popping. Okie doke. How many of you guys are familiar with Union Glashütte? There are some. These two watches, I don't know what they are. They're both limited to 99 pieces. Let me show you though. Union Glashütte is one company that has, I think, some really good prices. Here are a couple right here. And this is the kind of thing. They have the honors its founders with a limited anniversary edition. That's nice of them. And I'm sure their founders will feel honored. All right. What kind of movement do they have? Well, they don't talk about the movement. They just talk. They're very pretty watches. I think they're very attractive anyway, both of them. And they only made 99 pieces. Okay, that'll make them rare, but I don't think it'll affect the horology. Okay, but it's like to find something, find something new and interesting. Where else could we look, guys? What's your outlook for 2026 in regards to high horology market? Oh, B-Rock. Boy, that's a good question. What is my view of it? it seems to be on sort of a rocket ship to the moon price-wise. Um, the biggest watch show, I think, is in Dubai. And there's a great deal of money in Dubai, and so the prices of watches can reflect the what's available. Now, it's unfortunately it's impossible to have say, well, we're going to have one price for Dubai, and those guys in India, we want to have some nice watches for them too. So we're going to have the same watch, different prices. Other guys in U.S. are they're in trouble too. We're all in trouble. But I, to tell you the truth, no, tell you the truth, I've been lying ever since, and now I'll to tell you the truth. What I think is that some smartwatch companies are going to find what I'll call the affordable middle. All right. And just for purposes of discussion, this is under 10,000 Swiss francs. Now, what's going to go up and down is going to be the pound, the euro, the dollar, the Hong Kong dollar, the yen, the yuan, and all of those other monetary factors. They're going to be fluctuating all over the place. I don't see the U.S. dollar doing as well as I think it should. I mean, like like in January at the end of the Biden administration, it was a dollar versus the Swiss franc was 91 cents, and today, let me bring it up. It's 79 cents. I mean, that's a huge drop in a matter of 12 months. And so when you start seeing things like that, it's going to be more expensive. I was looking at the Vacheron Constantin 1921 today, $45,000. Okay, that's what a new one will cost. 45,000 bucks for you know for a nice watch. I mean, mine's in the case. When I got mine, it was sort of during a period. It was during the what was called the Asian crisis, when there was a big crackdown on people buying Swiss watches and using them as bribes. Um, then, and this was not that many years ago, it was I got mine for 25,000, which was roughly 10,000 under the MSRP. And because I'm always looking for a good buy on things, and that was too good to pass up. If I had more money, I would have probably bought more at the time. There it goes again. You can always like to see tourbillons. Um, so, but 45,000. When I saw that thing is $45,000, I thought, my God. Now I don't know if that includes the 15% tariffs that they put on it. That 15,000 would be like if you go down to the Vacheron Constantin boutique and say, hey, I'd like to get this. What it would cost 45,000, which would include the tariffs and everything else and all of the importing things, plus the difference in the Swiss francs versus the dollar. So it's sort of like I wish I could be optimistic about this coming year, being, oh boy, suddenly the prices are going to be great, and the horology is going to be outstanding. And if there's another harboring too, I think you'll see that. I know that H. Moser has been doing a lot to try to address that. But if you're sold out of everything at your current prices, why in the world would you lower them? I mean, this is one of the things that we're dealing with is that if you have something, I mean, anything. I mean, you could be selling cars or widgets or whatever, but unless there's a good reason to bring your price down, I think instead of the prices going down, what you're going to need is a new recognition of sort of this other market, the under 10,000 Swiss francs market. And someone's going to, because if somebody's got, you know, wants high horology, really great horology in that bracket, they're going to have to go pre-owned. And even pre-owned will go up as that happens. So, yeah, I'm hoping someone will sort of take the model. Now, here's a problem with the Harboring 2 model. They make very few. They're not greedy. So, I mean, you don't have, well, let's make more. We can make more money. And here's a cheaper way to make them. They're not that way. Certain ones of their have gone up, and they're based on a euro instead of the Swiss franc, since they're in Austria. So I don't know. I like I said, I'm not optimistic unless there's a watch company, a good watch company will come along. Like I'd like to see H. Moser come along and say, hey, we'll find an affordable movement from either one we'll create ourselves with precision engineering, or our partner Agenor, and come up with something. The companies like the Swatch-owned companies and the Rolex now too, they sort of seeming to go up as much as they think they can. They'll go up until they're not selling watches. I think that's sort of seems to be what their trajectory is. Whereas at Harboring 2, it's very different. Is that they have a waiting list for all their watches, and for good reasons. And so they're making them, and they've got the economy figured out for their watches. They've got 2 distributors here in the U.S. There's only 2 places you can get them. One is from Horology by the Sea, and the other one is from, excuse me, Martin Pulley. I don't know. I'd really like to see more companies do something like that. But instead of, there's a way to do it with excellent horology without making them cheap, or trying to figure our line about it. This is what a lot of these watch companies do, is that they have some phony baloney movement name, and then they're what they do, and there's some cheap off the shelf one. I've got nothing against ETA or Solida or Miyota, nothing at all. What I don't like for a watch collector is have them try to sell me a watch for way up here for a movement that's way down here. So that's sort of my naughty and nice thing. Okay, let's see. Oh, I got way behind here. Okay, B-Rock, that was answering your question. Hi, Gorder23. Oh, hi, Eric. So you're Eric from the Netherlands. Good to see you. Always like the Dutch. I spent a summer there at the law school at the University of Leiden. Had a ball. Any surprises? They wouldn't be surprised if we expected them. To me, that watch looks like an amateur trying to paint a Monet. Not very appealing. Which watch are you talking about, Eric? I think it's been very nice to see so many new materials being used, from osmium to titanium to tantalum and gold infused carbon. Okay, that's okay. I consider Tag Heuer as well. The fact I'm in a quartz-loving nerd influences my single brand thinking. Okay. Hey, Killer, what's up? Let's see. Another one is Benzinger. It's exceptional when the two work together. Yeah. Benzinger is basically an engraver. He does these great engravings, but I couldn't name. He's not a horologer. Okay. He's an engraver, makes pretty watches, cases, dials, really top notch. The movement he uses a pretty standard movement. And again, that's not saying that he's trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes, but a lot of people are more attracted the by the dial and the style than they are by what's inside. Jesus. Okay, Von Krul just got a message from Atelier Win about their 30,000 K inflection. I've got to know what that is. Looks nice, but it's price I would consider other options. Me too. I had the same conundrum. The Girard-Perregaux movement is definitely a looker, but not enough for me to justify the price. One of the things that I've been able to do, and Fernando and I, we've been looking for watches by these top fashion companies who also have the same value for quality movements. Both of us just got a Boucheron, which is one of the top luxury companies in Paris, in France, and they had Girard-Perregaux make a special movement for them. And so there's Fernando just got this incredible looking Boucheron. It's a square one, looks like $1 million watch, and I'm not going to tell you what he paid for it, but it was a great deal. By the way, too, something really funny happened. Somebody who I won't mention their name, okay, they received a watch from Korea, and the person in Korea just sent it regular US mail. And apparently it didn't go through customs or tariffs or anything else, because I guess they figured, well, who'd send it through regular mail? And I thought, that gives me an idea. Funny things happen. No, yeah, I know. I tell you, I haven't been spending very much on watches lately. Well, that's not totally true, but almost true. There was I've been very, very careful. Um, I'll tell you another one. See, if you can find them, is that if you a good New Year's resolution for anybody who doesn't do this is spend some time learning about top watchmakers, because every now and then you can find one that other people aren't onto and get a great watch. Um, Let me give you an example. Okay, but this is an example that sort of I wish would work better than it does, but it doesn't. You're probably familiar with Vianney-Halter, um, and his watches. He's very famous watchmaker, ACHI, and so forth. And when I was doing my video on Erard, there's Erard X. He had done some things with Vianney-Halter. So I thought, well, I'll just go check out Halter's prices. Maybe I'll find a bargain in there. I I don't think there was a single watch, even a used one of his early models that was under 50, 60, $70,000. So so much for that. But there might be one that's tucked away, a good watchmaker that's tucked away into something. And that's how the Boucheron, that special movement they had made. A special name is Girard-Perregaux 4000. It's only for Boucheron. Interesting stuff. Just like in my Mercator, there's a Jaeger-LeCoultre. By the way, that's another company that I think that Swatch probably had them jack up the prices would be my guess, because they're looking at their bottom line. They could care less about certain elements of horology. That was why they got rid of the geophysic year, all of those great watches. Those, by the way, too, that's another bunch of gems out there sitting unloved that you might wanna look into. Oh, Bissinger and Harbring, yeah. Harbring too, I don't think is gonna shake the world design-wise, external design. The design of the movement, yes, but not sort of overall design. So, yeah, that would be a good combination, I think, Keller. You know, Von Cruel, for that, range, for 1 to 4K, it's Canadian dollars, I'm assuming. There are a lot of things out there. The Boucherons that we got were under that. Same thing too with, what is it? Chaumet. Same with Chaumet. They have these just incredibly beautiful pieces of jewelry with watches in it. The one I got has, a, Jean-Marc Wiederreck, uh Agonier's gearing, a double one on it, and then on the base movements and ETA. But still, you know, you're getting something really special for a lot less. Yeah, Von Krugh, I agree there. Girard-Perregaux is I wish they would their designs are I don't know. Same thing with this is one thing that kills me, even though I can't afford them new, is, Roger Dubuis. Every one of those watches is a skeletonized one. Now, I can understand a skeletonized watch for Roger Dubuis insofar as you wanna look at that movement, beautiful movement, but, there are other ways to do it. What was one? I was talking to some guy, earlier, in fact, I say it was yesterday, and there were 2 he was talking about 2 Bovet watches, and one was like the one I have, which is a 1930, and, it's just a nice watch in every respect. But there was another one called the Recital 12, and he was asking me what I thought of this too. Well, the Recital 12 has a newer, thinner movement in it, and what they've done, you've got a lot of the skeletonized, but there's a little disc up in the upper right corner that you can easily tell the time with. It's just they just sort of put a solid, dial, and then around it, you can see all of the movements. So, I think if you're gonna have something skeletonized, where they call it open face, you need to take a look at the, how they're doing it. The one that I just showed you, the what's the name of the company? The one that BA1110 Ballard or something like that. Anyway, what they did, it was very hard to read. Having a tourbillon window so you can see the tourbillon, which is always fun, that's fine, but then to have the whole thing skeletonized and then a couple hands that don't seem to distinguish it from the background makes it very hard to read. But some people are like, "I don't care, I have a tourbillon." Union Glass Hoodie, lists the movement as U28999-993. I was thinking that many of the posts I read, it sounds like an ETA movement, or they really are using an ETA movement base. Yeah, Union Glashütte and Mule Glashütte both are uh, low-priced German watches, and for the most part, you get what you pay for, as opposed to paying a whole lot and you're getting a cheap, relatively speaking, cheap movement. Now, what they'll use in both of those companies will be Solida movements, ETA or Myota, one of those that they'll put in there, but they're not charging a lot for it. And the big thing is I don't care what they do, there's no reason they should not include what the movement is. That's one thing I didn't like about Girard. Going through that, yeah, I had to go through and dig up all of the movements they use. And of course, they use inexpensive movements. They use standard off the shelf movements. I tell you, it's sort of an interesting company that started off as an interesting company. It's movement makers, is La Perrier, Jaeger-Perregaux, say it like that. No, that's the one that came out of Jacquet SA when Pierre had to go to the Hoosgow. And so now a lot of people say, oh, they're, like a really top movement maker. I don't think so. I was looking up their base of the movement, and this one guy was trying to tell me some people say, oh, this is an excellent move. He didn't know what he's talking about. He had no idea. It was based on a Myota. And it doesn't surprise me, one, because Myota is owned by Citizen, and Citizen owns Jaeger-Perregaux, right? So, again, you have something that sounds like it's much better than in fact it is. Now, I think somebody was just pointing out that there was some Myota that they liked. Yeah, okay, fine. So say, all right, this is the base of this movement. But the idea that they're like, they're really one of the, sort of fancy hotshot movements, like, what is that one? The one by Mojon and then Agenor, and some of the other ones like that. So I think that what they had been what was called an assembler. I think that was what Jaeger-Perregaux originally was when they were Jacquet. And what they did, they would buy these Iboshes from ETA, and so they'd get a little box of parts, essentially, and then they'd put it together in these different combinations. What Jaeger-Perregaux is doing, it seems to be getting, since they're owned, like I said, they're owned by Citizens, they'll give them a base, a Myota base. I mean, why would they give them an ETA or Solida base when, and people say, well, they're Swiss made because they're in La Chaux-de-Fonds, but that's why I think it's important to, watch collection should be interesting because there's so much to learn about it. Yeah, Bon Cruel. Okay, yeah, it is for now. Ali, a collected man has a beautiful Roger Dubuis like no other. I tell you, guys, if you want to go to a good source, what Ali mentioned, Collected Man is great. The problem with Collected Man, the great majority of the watches he has have already been sold. But he's got a lot of like articles about different different watches. But the watches that he gets his mitts on somehow sell very quickly. It doesn't surprise me because he has very good taste and he really understands it. LGP, I think it's LJP, Von Krul, or Miyota base, yeah, and I strongly prefer, bidirectional winding. I only give, Miyota's, 9075s a pass on that, because of the higher, the true GMT complication. Okay. Yeah, this is one of the things that I like about, Moulay Glashütte is their woodpecker regulator. Those it's a very cool thing. It's a version of a swan neck, but still, they got a patent on it somehow, so they for their woodpecker. Anyway, guys, my time is definitely up right now. Wishing you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, or just happy time off from work if you have none of those on your agenda. So take care. Hope Santa Claus is good to you. Take care.